welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're venturing into a really fascinating collection of thoughts and ideas from a group known as The Clear Understanding.
That's right.
We've got their website materials, which outline their core beliefs, their mission, also some interesting perspectives on community and even lyrics from their musical explorations.
Yeah, and The Clear Understanding, they describe themselves as a community really focused on helping individuals grow personally, develop emotional intelligence, and feel empowered.
Right.
Their motto is interesting too, helping others to help others succeed, learn and do try. It gives you a sense of that active, sort of interconnected approach they take.
Okay, let's try and unpack this then. Our goal in this deep dive is to really get under the skin of their core philosophies, pull out the most insightful nuggets, and maybe give you a quicker way to understand some of their, quite complex ideas.
Yeah, definitely complex.
We're hoping to maybe spark some of those aha moments as we explore their unique takes on consciousness, existence, and, what it all means.
And what's particularly interesting right off the bat is how they seem to weave together these very abstract philosophical concepts with, it looks like a framework that includes mathematical symbolism. It really makes you wonder if they're aiming for a very comprehensive, maybe even a universal understanding of how things work.
Absolutely. Let's jump into one of their foundational concepts then. The instant one. They talk about this as a fundamental sliver of time.
A moment.
Yeah, a moment that's fleeting but still measurable, like a snapshot of what's real. But it's not just a static picture, is it?
No, not at all. They see the instant one as this really dynamic point, almost like a doorway that connects what we can perceive with the infinite possibilities that exist beyond our immediate senses. It's the point where the unseen can become seen, where potential becomes reality.
Like the smallest frame in a film.
That's a good analogy, yeah. Strung together, they create the illusion of motion and the larger story.
So our experience of the world, what they poetically call the grand symphony, happens through this constant succession of instant one moments.
Exactly.
And it's all driven by this concept they call, let me get this right, the motion of separation, noticed through accumulation being the mitosis we call the ones of all creation as one. That's quite a phrase.
It is dense, isn't it? But if we try to break it down, it seems to suggest that the reality we experience arises from a fundamental process, things becoming distinct, separating within a unified field.
Okay, separation within unity.
And our awareness of this process comes from our minds accumulating these individual instant moments. Think of it like taking individual points of light, which, when you view them together, create a bigger image.
Right.
This accumulation, this noticing of separation, that's what they see as the very process of creation itself.
Okay, that gives us a starting point.
Yeah.
Now, let's explore some of their core philosophical ideas. They frequently mention the clear. What exactly are they referring to there?
The clear. Yeah, that appears to be their term for the fundamental, sort of formless, infinite energy or consciousness that they believe is at the very base of everything that exists.
The foundation.
Exactly. It's associated with a kind of inherent instinctual knowing, a sense of being completely connected to everything else, and a state of constant expansion and potential.
So like the source code of reality.
You could almost think of it that way, yeah. The unmanifest potential from which everything else arises. Similar perhaps to how some philosophical traditions speak of a primordial void, but here it's envisioned as active and conscious.
Active. And from this clear comes separation and creation. How does that transition happen in their view?
Well, their idea is that awareness itself, and really all of existence as we know it with its distinctions and forms, it comes about through a process of separation occurring within this original clear oneness.
Okay.
And this separation isn't necessarily seen as a negative break, more like the essential mechanism that allows for awareness, for contrast, and ultimately for the cycles of existence to unfold.
So distinguishing things allows us to perceive them at all.
Precisely. It's the act of distinguishing one thing from another that allows us to perceive and experience anything.
They also introduce this symbol, phi, the golden ratio. What role does that play in their thinking?
Phi. Well, the golden ratio is this fascinating mathematical proportion. You see it all over in nature.
Right, shells, plants.
Exactly. Seashells, branching trees. It's often associated with aesthetics and harmony. For the clear understanding, it seems to symbolize the ability of consciousness to take on form and structure within these ongoing cycles of creation and separation.
Like a blueprint.
Almost, yeah. Like a mathematical blueprint for how the formless can become formed in a balanced, coherent way. And, it has a long history in philosophy, too, representing ideal proportions, beauty, that sort of thing.
Then there's the question X. Why am I aware everywhere? They consider this the fundamental driving force behind all of existence.
Precisely. This question, for them, really gets to the heart of our innate curiosity, our inherent search for meaning and purpose.
The big why.
It really is. They believe it's the underlying impulse behind everything that exists, the very reason we're trying to understand ourselves and our place in the grand scheme of things.
And purpose P. It isn't about finding one big answer then. It's more about discovering smaller answers in each moment.
Exactly, which eventually leads to a greater understanding of that fundamental question. They don't see purpose as some fixed, far-off goal. It's a continuous journey.
A journey of seeking and finding understanding.
In every single moment we experience, each little insight we gain contributes to answering that larger, overarching question of why we are aware.
Okay. They also mentioned this concept, the summation of all values. That sounds incredibly broad.
It is intended to be broad. This mathematical concept, sigma, is their way of representing the entirety of existence. Absolutely everything, motion, infinity, consciousness itself, all rolled into one.
Wow.
It's a symbolic way of highlighting their belief in the deep interconnectedness of all things, like a kind of universal accounting of everything that is.
And rounding out these core concepts are reaction, R, and decision, D. These represent the two sides of how our consciousness interacts with the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feeling and logic, maybe. Intuition and reason.
That's a great way to put it. They see these as the two fundamental ways our consciousness engages with our imagination to produce actions and outcomes.
So the interplay between emotion and logic.
Exactly. It's the ongoing interplay between our emotional responses, R, and our logical reasoning, D, that shapes how we experience and interact with reality.
So if we put it all together, it's like this continuous process. You start with this unified consciousness, the clear,
right,
which then undergoes separation, leading to individual observers, or us, maybe.
Yeah. Driven by that fundamental question, the question X.
Driven by why am I aware? And then we engage with the world through reaction and decision.
R&D.
Constantly shaping our reality and seeking deeper understanding.
That's a very concise and, I think, accurate summary. And the fact that they frame these ideas using mathematical symbols like sigma, phi, it suggests they believe these aren't just abstract philosophical musings.
But maybe fundamental principles.
Potentially, yeah. Reflecting some underlying principles of the universe itself.
The inclusion of pi and phi definitely makes you think about connections between consciousness, creation, and these really fundamental cosmic constants.
It's almost as if they're trying to find a mathematical language for the very nature of existence.
What's also quite striking is their recurring emphasis on the number 1. You mentioned it earlier.
Yes, they mention 1 frequently. It represents a fundamental unit, and they sometimes equate it with the idea of 100% or perfection within any given moment.
And they suggest that things that appear singular are actually made up of other ones.
Which really emphasizes this idea of interconnectedness.
And their concept of a stronger one together, or as they put it, the we energy.
Exactly. They even go so far as to suggest that even numbers are simply groupings of these fundamental ones.
That's a very granular view.
It is almost atomic, you could say. A view of reality where everything breaks down into these individual units that then combine to create larger wholes, and this we energy concept, that seems to underpin their community focus too.
Let's shift focus a bit to this idea of the now instant of awareness. This seems really central to their philosophy.
It is, very much so. They place a strong emphasis on the importance of being constantly present in the now instant.
Here and now.
Yes, where our awareness exists within this ongoing cycle of questioning and expressing. It's about fully inhabiting each and every moment as it unfolds.
And they say we begin within the middle, describing that as the clear moment of awareness that essentially creates the solid reality we perceive. That's a really evocative image.
It is, isn't it? It suggests our conscious awareness isn't just passively observing reality,
but creating it.
Or at least it's the very point from which our perceived reality emanates. They also describe our energy and awareness as having a toroidal nature.
Like a donut shape.
Exactly, expanding outwards in all directions and then looping back in on itself. It's a fascinating way to visualize the flow of our being.
And within this now instant, They believe we make decisions based on the charge, positive and negative influences around us.
That's the idea. It's as if we're constantly navigating an energetic field of possibilities.
So our presence allows us to sense these and make choices.
Precisely. Our presence and awareness in the current moment let us sense these influences and make choices that shape not only our immediate experience, but also the potential pathways into the future.
Now, their understanding of purpose, it's not a single fixed point, is it?
No, not at all. More like a collection of many different purposes that we fulfill throughout our journey of observation and experience.
So even small things contribute.
That's right. They believe that even seemingly insignificant actions, they say every look, word, laugh, contribute to our overall purpose and have a ripple effect on the world around us.
A very interconnected view.
Extremely, where even the smallest details have meaning and impact.
And they have this profound idea that after we leave this earth plane, everything we did becomes the purpose of all the outcomes that follow. That's a really thought-provoking concept about legacy.
It is, isn't it? It suggests our actions and experiences have this lasting influence, extending beyond our individual lifespan. They also link purpose directly to our imagination.
Calling it the interface to infinity.
Yeah, and suggesting it's guided by our underlying belief systems.
Let's delve into their idea of truth. They state truth is 100% always found in the moment it happens or as it currently exists.
And everything else is just probability until it occurs.
Right. It's a very specific, very present-focused definition of truth.
Yes, for them, the absolute truth of anything is its reality in this exact moment, or the way it actually unfolded. Anything else, anticipation, expectation, is simply a potential outcome until it actually happens.
They use these really grounded examples like a chair or a broken comb. The truth of the broken comb right now is that it is broken, regardless of its past usefulness or future potential repair.
Exactly. And they emphasize that our own personal truths are in a constant state of adjustment.
Based on our experiences.
Yes, based on our ongoing experiences and our aspirations for the future. What we hold to be true evolves as we learn and our desires shift.
This perspective then leads to their concept of agree to disagree.
Which seems rooted in understanding that one person's current truth might not align with another's ongoing process of understanding truth.
So it fosters tolerance.
It seems to, yeah. A sense of tolerance and acceptance for differing viewpoints, recognizing that individuals are on their own unique journeys of discovery and may hold different perspectives based on their current situation.
Now, they also explore managing our energy and emotions, which they frame as the logic line.
Right. They propose that we can consciously manage these powerful infinite energies, like anger, for instance, by actively choosing higher forms of response acceptance, tolerance, understanding. It's about intentionally directing our emotional energy towards more constructive states.
So overcoming lower energy states requires awareness and practice.
Exactly. Awareness and consistent practice. Drawing upon positive experiences from our past to help us shift our current state. It's a kind of conscious emotional regulation.
And the logic line represents a spectrum.
Yes, where a loss of logical reasoning leads towards imbalance. They emphasize that in each now moment, we have the agency, the choice to choose who we are based on our awareness of the unfolding process.
And they see our emotions, good and bad, as indicators.
As gauges of our current energy state, yeah. With our self being defined by our feelings and the decisions we make in the present instant.
It really highlights the dynamic, evolving nature of identity.
Absolutely. Emphasizing our capacity to actively shape who we are through the choices we make, moment by moment.
Let's circle back to this core concept. Separation is the engine of creation.
Right. They state quite unequivocally that the separation that is noticed through accumulation is the process of motion in which we call creation. Meaning, they believe that without this fundamental process, things becoming distinct, and our awareness of those distinctions building up, there would be no creation as we understand it. No change, no form, no experience.
Okay. And they describe consciousness itself as a fluid movement.
Yes, with interconnected parts, all energetically linked back to a fundamental first one.
It paints this picture of a universe that's constantly in motion.
And where everything is fundamentally connected at an energetic level. They even make this rather striking analogy, comparing human consciousness in some ways to intelligent black holes, which really makes you think about the nature of information and awareness, doesn't it?
It certainly does. They also place a strong emphasis on questioning everything.
Yes, as the path to true knowing. seeing it as the very essence of awareness.
It reflects a deep commitment to critical thinking.
Definitely. The belief that genuine understanding arises from actively engaging with the world and asking questions. They also state that our decision is the act of action before it happens,
Highlighting the power of intention.
and our capacity for free will driven by our awareness.
And this idea that every now instant is an answer for a later now instant suggests a continuous cycle of learning.
Exactly. Each moment builds upon the ones before it, and the choices we make now directly influence the possibilities that will unfold later. They also express a fundamental belief in the inherent value and interconnectedness of all beings.
Going back to the clear, they reiterate that everything we perceive as solid and clear is actually energy.
Energy in a state of perpetual separation, yes. And this ongoing separation is creation itself.
It reinforces their core idea of an underlying energetic reality.
Absolutely. And they emphasize that we are always within the middle of a constant expansion without an end, really underscoring the infinite and dynamic nature of existence.
And they connect this clear to the origins of love and thought.
Describing it as an infinite energy that is the source of all decision.
It elevates the clear beyond just a passive substance.
Makes it an active generative force, the very wellspring of our most fundamental experiences and our capacity to make choices.
Finally, they speak to our potential as infinite beings, existing within this clear that gives rise to all solid forms.
Right. They describe our origin as a movement from an inner micro instant into this outer macro instant.
So because the clear is infinite energy,
they argue that we, too, are essentially infinite energy expressing itself through finite forms. We are that energy.
and this idea that any clear space we perceive is actually a simulation of the self as the whole, 100%. That's a truly mind-bending perspective on reality.
It really is. It suggests a profound level of interconnectedness and the potential to understand ourselves as integral parts of a much larger unity.
Which leads to their powerful concluding statement.
Yes. Do you want to experience pure infinite energy? Then all you have to do is realize you already are.
Okay, let's try to synthesize some of these incredible ideas.
Yeah.
We've explored their understanding of the fundamental nature of each instant, this continuous cycle of creation and awareness driven by separation.
The crucial role of our individual decisions, R&D, and our perspectives on truth.
And this amazing potential they see in us as beings deeply connected to a fundamental infinite energy, the clear.
And as we've gone through these concepts, their core principle, helping others to help others succeed, learn, and do try, it really resonates, doesn't it?
It does.
These ideas they present offer a very unique, I think, and holistic framework for personal growth and for understanding our place within this vast dynamic reality they've described.
So for you, our listener, maybe take a moment to consider this. How might the idea that each now instant is 100% perfect exactly as it is, how might that shift how you perceive your daily experiences and the choices you make within them?
That's a great takeaway. And perhaps also explore what your own individual purpose might be within this framework of deep interconnectedness and continuous creation.
Lots to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.